This is FirstCoast.tv. We find ourselves here with Peter Royal, a citizen of the city of St. Augustine. And as I covered the vote yes and the election and talked with the school board, many people talked to me and said, well, I'm going to vote no. And it'd be cool if we could articulate the reason why we're voting no. So Peter was very versed and knowledgeable on the reason why he's voting no. So I brought him in front of our camera, FirstCoast.tv, to tell us why he's voting no. He already voted, and he has his I voted no sticker on his shirt, which I thought was funny when I saw him. And behind him you have the Vote Yes campaign. So Peter, why are you voting no?
Well, the problem is that it's not about the children.
Okay, so you feel it's not about the children.
In 2008, the state legislature, to contain the taxes for the state of Florida, changed the money from the building funds to the operating funds for the school system. Now, as you know, the states subsidize counties that need help. And with that, things have moved along fairly successfully until this year. The problem this year, of course, is the economy's come back, and the two largest builders in the United States have perched in St. Johns County building houses hand over fist. And they're advertising, selling the things that we provided for them, the best school system in Florida, as a selling tool for their houses. The people that move into these houses get the benefit of the schools and, of course, need additional classroom space. So they're the reason for the problem. Now they want us to pay for it with a half a penny sales tax.
Okay. Now what's the argument? Now part of the argument they say is that the tourists are going to carry most of that burden.
Well, tourism is part of St. Johns County's economy and lifeblood. There's no question about that. And I'm sure that the tourists that come here are aware of not only the parking cost, but the cost of buying things, and adding extra tax to that doesn't make it a more tourist-friendly environment.
Now, the demographics of families coming into the county, what do you think about that more children are coming into the county?
Well, one of the problems that they have in the state, the school board, was counting on the state giving them back the money they took from the building fund to the operating fund this last year. It didn't happen. The reason it didn't happen is because demographics show that the St. Johns County is moving towards a more retirement community. They don't need schools. One of the problems you have is if you build brick and mortar buildings and we have empty space, then we have to, by state law, give that space to out-of-county residents and provide the schools for the adjacent counties without them paying for them.
So here's the other question then, what is the half-cent tax for then?
Well, the half-cent tax really is for power because the St. John's School Board has borrowed out all the money they can on their bonding credit card. They can't borrow any more money until they get an additional source of revenue. So they need this desperately so they can borrow they want to tax us $150 million over the next 10 years, so they can then multiply that by borrowing, just like extending on your credit card. You can either pay off your credit card or you can get your credit limit raised. This is the only way they can get their credit limit raised.
Now someone would come and ask you, what's your source of information? How do you know this?
Well, the school board has come to various organizations I've been part of. One of them is the Republican Executive Committee, where they had a 20-minute dog and pony show telling us the benefits, and then opened it up for questions. After an hour and 20 minutes of questions, they shut down the meeting. The questions involve what's the half penny tax for, where's it coming from, what are you going to do with it, and the answers came back as I was talking to you about. The last question was, what happens if you don't get the half a penny tax?
Right. We asked that question to the school board.
Exactly. Yes. Now, the answer to that is that nothing happens. They go right on teaching the children with the same best school system in the state, but they're in the relocatable, they call them, relocatable classrooms.
Right.
The teachers don't like them, and if they have banked buildings, they feel better about it. but the school children get the same education. As a matter of fact, the school board just bought big, fancy widescreen TVs for 73 movable classrooms for this coming year.
All right. Well, we're going to have to leave it there. We did our thing, so thank you very much for that information. And if people wanted more information on the, I guess on the Vote No movement, where would they go?
Well, we are trying to have people manning the booths. You can go to staugustineteaparty.org and follow the information stream along there, where you can get facts and figures, charts and graphs.
All right. Thank you very much for offering this information to the public, Mr. Royal, and you have a lovely day.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.